Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Invictus Racing League No Assist Championship. And we're here, and I'm very, very excited tonight. We will be bringing you for the first time in a long time here in Invictus, the Monaco Grand Prix, the Principality, and the streets of Monte Carlo. And as always, I am joined by Sab. Good evening, Sab. This is going to be a good one tonight, isn't it?
Isn't it just? We had a superb race last week in at the Red Bull Ring, and if these guys tonight can pull out the sort of performance we've seen last week, we're going to be in for one hell of a race. And I just want to say, before we carry on, I'd like to wish you and hope that all the people listening and watching wish you a happy birthday today. I hope these guys tonight can give you a special race to commentate on and go wild on.
Thank you very much. Yep, turning 30 today. I'm definitely feeling the age creeping onto me now, but hopefully these guys will be making me feel a little bit younger with what we're expecting to be an absolutely electrifying race around here. And as you said, yeah, last week in Austria, the race won by LR Archie by an absolute mile in the Renault. He did an absolute fantastic job, and the others will be looking at him to possibly box in on the first lap or so, but it's going to be a very it's a really tantalising look on do we go for strategy? Do you go for how do people qualify on this? Do they look at staying in the back, possibly trying to stay out of any problems, or do they go for the front row of the grid and give yourselves a clean track? But then equally, can you keep yourself out of those walls? And Sab, with notoriously the most tricky circuit on the calendar, it's going to be an absolute nightmare for these guys, especially in the opening laps, to really get used to race speeds around the track.
Oh, most definitely. And like you say, qualifying is going to be crucial here tonight because what on earth do you do? I honestly could not tell you how to go about approaching this for league racing. It's been so long since it's been on the calendar. For me, you don't want to be caught up there in that midfield pack because anything can happen, especially at the start. You can easily trip over somebody ahead or somebody come into the back of you, and that could be a race ruiner right there. So I think qualifying is just going to be as exciting as the race. It's going to be fascinating to see what these guys decide to do.
Yeah, it's going to be a real well, and hopefully, I'm sure as we load into the race session now, we'll get a dry session, because I tell you what, a wet session tonight would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it? Not that I'm a sadist, but I know it would be really fun to watch these guys take to the tracks on a sweat and slippery circuit like we saw for the German Grand Prix last weekend. Which, if you haven't already, make sure you tune in to Sav and I's podcast on Thursday evenings, where we'll be going over that race and looking at it as we load in. It's a sunny sky over the Principality here in Monte Carlo, Monaco, and so these guys, I'm sure, for qualifying at least, will be breathing a sigh of release. And Monaco itself, of course, like I said, one of the trickiest circuits on the calendar, but actually the shortest in distance, 3.3 kilometres, just over 2 miles. Distance to turn one, very short, of course, down on that run, down to Saint Devot, 210 metres. Longest straight is that stretch from the exit of Anthony Nogues at turn 19 down to turn 1. That's 510 metres, so just over zero point 0.3 of a mile. Top speed on the approach to turn 10 is around 183 miles an hour, so not massively high. Full throttle, 50% the lap, so split right down the middle of how long these guys will be spent with their foot flat on the floor. ERS demands around here are around about medium, so the guys can, of course, there are a lot of heavy braking zones to recover a lot of energy, and then equally gear changes, quite a few around here, 48 over the lap distance. That makes over a 50% race distance, 3,744. And Sab, a lot of drivers heading out on track very early, and of course congestion on this track a real issue, especially in qualifying.
Most definitely, and we've got 18 drivers tonight, I should say, and a lot will be wanting to get out there and try and find some space. I'm currently watching LRT, who's out on the outlap, and he's already tucked behind the McLaren of Dragio. Yeah, Dragio. So that is not ideal for him. He's obviously going to want to try and get past Dragio. He does get past Dragio now. So trying to find enough of a gap to set a good lap time and get yourself within the runners at the front. It's going to be tricky tonight to see how they get on. A lot of people, I'm just having a look at tyres picked them in. A lot of people going straight out on the fastest compound of tyre. We've got the Mercedes of FPL Charlie's on the hard tyre, and his teammate Boy Better Know Scott, he's also on the medium tyre, so they may be going for 1 or 2 runs to get a feel for the track early on. But so far, there's a lot of people out there on the softest tyre, so probably going for it straight away.
Yep, heading for the front row of the grid for several drivers tonight. As you say, 18 drivers on the grid tonight, so it's going to be a real chaotic start down to Saint Devot for the first time. And it's MJ Coupe that's leading the pack around. He's the first one to set a flying lap in the Red Bull, and of course MJ Coupe, very new to Gnosis, but getting much more comfortable with running it. We've seen him run it not only here on Monday nights, but equally on Wednesday nights too in F2, where he's been impressing and slowing it down there for the Nouvelle chicane very nicely. Just about misses the that orange part of the exit. Now through to back, of course, named after the famous tobacconists that used to be on the outside, and I believe still is there, just on the other side of the Armco barrier. Now down into the last 2 corners, into Raskas and outside of Anthony Nogues for MJ Coupe. He's going to be the first one to come across the line. Of course, corner cutting not too prevalent around here, so most people should set fastest lap. It's 1:11.2. MJ Coupe first one across the line.
Yes, we've got LR Archie. He's just come across the line and he's done a 1:10.8 straight on the soft tyre, so he's setting the benchmark already, but I'm sure someone like Archie will probably be able to go quicker. He's just what, 4/10 faster. Scott Boy Better Know, he's just jumped up there with a 1:12.1 on the medium tyre, with his teammate just crossing the line at the same time, and a 1:13.7 as Humberstone has left the session. I'm not sure if he's got issues there, but time's been set at the minute. Simon Pitto, he's up there now with 1:10.4, so time's tumbling very quickly already early on.
Yep, low 1:10s at the moment. Can we expect to see these guys go into the possibly the 1:09 at the end of the session when the track rubbers in? Of course, it's very green at the moment, and we can expect these times to get a little bit faster. You can see there's a lot of confidence with some of the guys at the top 3 at the moment in the 1:10s that go. These guys in the 1:12s, of course, Meg Lugby's just gone across the line, 1:12.443, so he's going to look at going much quicker later in the session. We'll go on board here with Phil MCFC. He's just going through the tunnel section now, down towards the Nouvelle chicane. Very hard braking zone here, and then you want to miss that little bit of arm coat that sticks out. Very easy, I find, to just clip, especially that rear tyre, of course, with these fat tyres that we've got on the car this season. They really do stick out, and he just takes it nicely through to back there. A little bit carefully done. Humberstone back in, so that's good to see. But yeah, Phil now having to bail out of that one and let the guys pass. So Phil possibly deciding to slow down. You can see he's missing the front right-hand side of that front wing. So an early box, and then we do say welcome to 2 new drivers for this week. We've got, and well, for the rest of the season, hopefully, we've got Adria Lockdock here in the Toro Rosso. He will be joined by Beck 9000, and Beck doing very nicely indeed, up into 6th at the moment with 1:12 flat. Adria Lockdock in 11th at the moment on the mediums. At the moment, he's one of only 3 drivers to have set a time on a differing compound to the softest, and he is down in 11th position. But always good to see new guys join the league, isn't it?
Oh, most definitely, and I cannot wait to see how well they get on tonight. It's definitely chucking them straight into the deep end with this race, that's for sure. No harder test, I'd say, on our calendar this season. I'm currently riding on board with Schofielder. He started his outlap and he's clipped the barrier at least 4 or 5 times early on, and he's bailed out his lap altogether. So many people at the minute having too many issues with their front wings, let's say, around this track. It's a tricky one. If you don't get quite right, you can lose an end plate or 2, and that's your balance and everything else all gone out. It's a Schofielder, one of the guys you'd probably expect at the front with his teammate Sam, struggling at the minute.
Yep, and we've got as you say, the front winging, especially those end plates, will be put to their extremes this evening. I would imagine a lot of cars possibly bumping off the walls, pit lanes will be very busy and pit crews equally as busy. And just here, sitting here with Speed Queen, of course, 3-time no assist champion. She was part of the league last time we were racing around Monaco as part of the first season, I believe, on F1 2000 or 2017, I believe was the last time we were here. She bails out of that lap, so we've got M. Dora, and he's up in 3rd position. He's still in the pit lane. It's his teammate Dragio down in 17th at the moment on the soft, so another one of the drivers deciding to really go for positioning, deciding that it's better to be at the head of this field than at the back, and hoping not to trip up over any incidents, especially around the first lap. And he's now coming into Raskas, goes out slightly wide there, just misses that Monte Carlo sign, and now through the final corner, as he knows, he opens the DRS, comes across the line. What does Dragio do on his first lap? It's a 1:14.2 slow lap there from the McLaren.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? I was also watching, and he got a few corners a little wide there, and it just must be just finding his feet and trying to get a rhythm. So many people already have sector 2 yellow flag. I assume somebody's just slowing down somebody, but so many people already still not set lap times out there who've probably invalidated or clipped the barrier. So it is proving, as Monaco is, a very, very tricky track to navigate around, especially when you've got traffic to deal with, as well as these barriers up close. It's going to make it even trickier. As soon as that time keeps tumbling down, the pressure's going to mount, especially for those who's not set a lap time yet. They're going to keep mounting to a point where it's going to be really under pressure for them to get a solid lap time down. As LR Archie back where he believes he belongs, a 109.9. That's an unbelievable lap from Archie there. He's so much faster, a good half a second faster than Sam in his Renault. LR Archie back up on the top row again.
Yep, Archie, fantastic lap from the Renault drive there. Of course, last week's winner here in no assists, and he's the first driver to dip into the 1:09. So great lap there from there, just on board with Beck 9000. He's just gone just under half a tenth slower than his first lap. And we've got the Toro Rossos currently in 6th and 7th, so it's a good start for them. You've got last season's champion, Boy Better Know. He's only down in 8th position at the moment, so Scott possibly caught in that middle of the pack. And I don't know, around here it's one of those, I'd rather start right at the back or right at the front. You really don't want to get caught in the middle, because down into Saint Devot for the first time would be like an accordion with people braking and not wanting to pick up any damage early on. So you want to get yourself either towards the back end of the grid and or right up at the front. So Scott not in an ideal position at the moment, as we've got Beck 9000 coming around Anthony Nogues now. Last corner kicks the tail end of that Toro Rosso out. Of course, Toro Rosso picking up their first podium in 11 years, and he goes just under 4 tenths faster on the medium tyre. So good lap there from Beck, up with it a 1:11.6.
Yeah, Beck's really shown what he can do on the medium tyre there. The only other medium tyre runner out there was Charlie, and he did a 1:12.2, so that's pretty good there from Charlie. Scopefielder still struggling out there. He's just had another hot lap that he's aborted on. He's having another go now. For his sake, he's going to want to hope he can get a lap nailed sooner rather than later. He's just over 7 minutes on the clock. He's currently languishing down in 15th place, which is not where he wants to be at all.
No, not at all. And you've got plenty of drivers down the rear end of the field that I imagine will want to improve, and never miss dropping into the comments saying Speed Queen for top 5 possibly. And yeah, Alex, if you think she's got the if you think that she's got the potential to be up there, you're more than right. She's as M. Doran, there you go, by 8 thousandths of a second takes a pole position at the moment provisionally. Wow. And he does very nicely. CPI Alex does half a second faster, but still only in 4th position. But great lap there from Endoran.
Absolutely brilliant lap from Endoran. He can do it, can't he, in qualifying? As I'm just watching Scopefield now, he's crossing the line. Where can his first lap, he's jumped up to a 1:11.3, 7th place. So it's not ideal for Scopefield. He's really struggling out there at the minute. He'll want to hope to get in and get another set on of these softs and try and at least get up into that top 5 places, especially seeing some of his rivals already up there as he's just slowing down to allow a faster car through. So yeah, super lap there for Endoran, once again showing what he can do in qualifying.
Just sitting here and on board with Speed Queen 80. She's coming around Raskas now, the last 3 corners of the lap to set her first timed lap on the soft compound tyre. It's a slow one, so she's obviously gone deep into one of the corners, and yeah, it's a 1:16, so perhaps just warming those tyres up on the first lap, and now she's going to really kick it into gear with 6 minutes left to go in the session. She needs to get a shift on if she's going to set a flying lap, and much faster and tidier through this first sector. Of course, just missing that bump on the exit of the Casino Square turn 4 down to Mirabeau, now down to the Novelle chicane, so the Lowe's hairpin, also known as the Grand Hotel hairpin, now down to Portier, right on the edge of the seafront into the tunnel, of course much shorter than what it used to be. And then we come out, flashes bright sky in front of you down towards Novelle chicane, turn 10 and 11, just missed that Armco barrier, and now full speed. How brave are you into Tabac? Very nicely. Oh, she clatters the wall hard, very hard indeed, loses a whole heap of front wing there, and yeah, struggling to get it slowed down. Speed Queen in 16th position, frustrated once again, and she's only got one more chance to set a time lap.
It was like you was commentating on Nick LJ Thompson just then with the clash with the barrier. I was riding on board with him. He was pretty much going quicker than what he'd already done, and he also clattered the barrier just before the swimming pool chicane and took a huge chunk of front wing out of his car, and he's to abandon his lap and come in his Alfa Romeo. So many people at the minute really struggling out there. They've set lap times, but probably not quick enough for what they're fancying at the minute. They're only going to get one more run shortly. It's going to be all or nothing, so to speak, soon. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they get on. Yeah,
MJ Coupe just clattering the wall at the exit of Tabac there. So equally the Red Bull driver struggling. I believe he may have cut the corner at the Novelle chicane, so that might have been a reason why he decided to bail out of that lap. But 4 minutes left to go in the session, and I don't know about you, Sad, but I think the track is about to get incredibly busy.
Oh yes, it's going to be a lot of mini chicanes out there, isn't it, for a lot of people. If I was one of the guys now, I'd want to try and get out there as soon as possible. I know it's always good to try and leave it to the last second to be the last guy of the line before checker flag drops, but you can easily trip over other people who are running slow or have had incidents. I'd want to get out there now and try and get a lap time in while the track is quieter, because any moment now you're going to have close to 18 people all out on track trying to set the fastest lap as possible. So it's going to be, yeah, fascinating to see how they get along. I'm watching Scopefielder again. He's languishing down in, well, languishing for his sake, I'd say, down in ninth. He's got 3 minutes on the clock. This is a crucial lap for Scopefielder. He's going to want to try and at least get up with the likes of Sam and Archie for around the top 3 places here if he's going to fight these guys for the win today.
Scott just coming around the final few corners of the lap, but I've just gone on board of LR Archie as he's on his final flying lap. We've got a yellow in sector 1 in a moment, possibly a slow car, just letting others through, and Archie is up by 200ths of a second in the first sector, so that would put him on provisional pole if times stayed as they are. Of course, the top 3 split by 300ths of a second, so it's incredibly fast and incredibly close at the top order. Archie coming up to a slow car ahead. Is it going to impede him down into the Novelle chicane? Locks up the front right ever so slightly, but manages to recover, and it's a car point backwards. That looks like a Haas. Is that Scopefielder?
It's Scopefielder. Yeah, Scopefielder completely lost it coming out of the tunnel down to the chicane down there. He just completely lost it, and at one point was facing sideways. I thought it was going to cause a huge problem for fast running guys, and Scopefielder pushing too hard here, and he's really starting to struggle now to get a lap time he wants down there. This is probably the end of his running now, and at best he's going to be starting ninth.
Yeah, good lap there from Epil Charlie. He goes up into 4th position. Unfortunate for LR Archie there as he got impeded by Dragio, who was equally on a fast lap, but just couldn't quite get out of the way. Couldn't really, when he got to Raskas, there was nowhere to go, and Agiloctor, of course, he retires from the session. He's decided not to go any quicker. He's going to be starting outside the top 10. Of course, tyre preference for those starting outside of the top 10. But Archie in the pit lane, and with 1 minute 20 left on the clock, it's unlikely he's going to be able to get out and set another time. So he will be starting at best in second position. But we've got FPL Charlie. He's on track at the moment, still going at it. We're going to see he's got those tyres up to temperature, down towards the Novell chicane now, and he cuts it across. So Charlie coming in this lap. We've got Speed Queen. She moves up into 8th position. Scopefielder, he's still on track. He's currently in 10th. We've got plenty of cars on track. In fact, we've got every single car on track apart from LR Archie now. So 17 cars will be making their way around the circuit, and this is going to be almost a scene of crash team racing, and the amount of chaos that will be going on with fast cars trying to not trip up over some of the guys on their out laps or their cool down laps. And we've got Phil MCFC at the moment joining us for the first time after missing the first round due to holiday. He's in the Williams, and he's coming up to the final corner now. Anthony Nogues rides that curb, just gives yourself a little bit of extra momentum as he goes across the line. Does he improve from 13th? He doesn't. It's a slow time, but he's got across the line with 7 seconds left to go. So he's got another lap to go and push it, as we've got Jojo crosses the line. He's down at 18th. He's not going to improve. Archie, of course. Who else? We've got Charlie and Alex. All have finished their session as time has run out. And Sab, are you on board with anyone that's going any quicker?
I'm currently watching Boy Better Now. He had a tough qualifying last time out, and he's just coming around to second section now. As M. Doran has gone quicker. Wow, super lap there from M. Doran. I'm just right on board with Scott now. He's nearly half a second up at the minute on his fastest lap, so he's absolutely flying at the minute, Scott. He's coming round now to final.
Sorry to interrupt you there. White Fountain, provisional pole for the Renault driver there, a 109.5. He's absolutely blown the competition away there.
Wow. You're more than welcome to interrupt for something like that. That was a superb lap from White Fountain. I unfortunately didn't get to see it. I was on board with Boy Better Now. He's jumped up from, I think he was 9th place. He's up to 6th now, so better, but still struggling in qualifying. He'll be alongside his teammate FPL Charlie. He's not far off his time either, a 10th between the two Mercedes drivers.
Yeah, White Fountain in fact comes into the comments with jubilation as he shouts yes, and what a lap from him and from yourself, White Fountain. Fantastic lap around there, absolutely, as I said, blew the competition away. It's a 4/10 advantage he's gained over the rest of the field, but behind him that is an incredibly close grouping of cars there. We've got M. Doran, LR Archie, Sammy the Pito, and both of the Mercedes cars all within 2/10 of each other. So if anything is to go by that qualifying session, we're in for an absolutely fantastic race.
Yes, most definitely. It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? I think strategy-wise, are people going to come in early and run to the end? Or some people going to try and run long and be faster towards the end of the race? White Fountain is definitely in the prime spot there. He's going to have nobody in front of him. If he can get away good, he's going to have a very, very good chance of winning this race. But it's Monaco, though, isn't it? Even at the front of the pack, you can be sceptical to a collision with the barriers. So I can't honestly pick who's going to win this race tonight. It's going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a real fun one to watch. So if you are watching, guys, let us know where you're watching from. Are you watching as a driver preparing for this week? Of course, we've got the Performance League tomorrow night, and then equal performance on Wednesday night, F1, F2 and F3. And so we've got plenty more racing around the Principality in Invictus over the next few days. So plenty of action for you to be catching up on, all streamed here live on twitch.tv. You can find out all of the information on our socials, Invictus RL on Twitter and in Instagram. Invictus Racing League on Facebook, or equally go to the website invictusracingleague.com, where you can find all of the information needed, whether it be league tables, sign-up pages, or even if you just want to find out about who runs the leagues behind the scenes, and go to our Meet the Team. Or, of course, if you'd like to support the league, and if you are a driver or a community member, you can of course support us by going to the Invictus page and going to the sign up and the donation there. You can find out all of the details for any perks that you would gain by donating. And of course, we are looking at getting bigger and better here in Invictus, and being able to support our community even more. So any donations are always appreciated. And of course, you can even do that just by following this channel. So clicking that follow button or subscribe. Of course, you can subscribe to us. We are Twitch affiliated, or you can use your Amazon Prime Twitch subscription. So you pay or you get a 3 month subscription. You don't pay a penny for it. We get the monetary value. And as the session looks like to be readying up, it's going to be a fascinating run down to Saint-Devote, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, I honestly don't know where it'd be best to keep an eye on at the minute. Do you keep an eye on it in the middle of the pack where it could possibly be very congested? Do you keep an eye on the front where White Fountain could possibly get away and try and build a lead? Or do you even watch at the back where somebody at the back could take advantage of people tripping over each other and worm their way through and gain 5-6 places? It's going to be absolutely fascinating to see what these guys plan on doing tonight. And obviously their main plan is not to trip and bang into these very menacing walls that are around this street circuit.
Of course. Not many overtaking positions around here, so it's going to be a strategic battle. And you'll see guys trying to go for the undercut, trying to go for the overcut, and equally trying to make use of any mistakes and incidents that we might see as White Fountain in the Renault Sport car leads us around. Front row provisional pole for the Belgian. Alongside him is M. Doran 09 in the McLaren. Behind them, on row 2, you've got LR Archie in the second Renault, last week's race winner, alongside Sammy the Pitto, last season 4 times in a row winner. FPL Charlie, very, very impressive rookie to the league, in 5th position with his teammate Boy Better Know, and reigning champion in 6th position. The Ferraris lock out 7th and 8th on the 4th row with CPI Alex and Speed Queen. SJD and MJ Coupe very nicely indeed in the 5th row of the grid on 9th and 10th. Scopefielder down 11th. He's got option with the tyres with Meg Lugby alongside him. Phil MCFC in 13th with Beck 9000 in 14th. Humberstone and Andrew Lockdock in 16th. And final row of the grid will be Nick LJ Thompson and Dragio, who is actually using his brand new wheel for the first time around here. So a baptism of fire for the second McLaren drivers, as we've got the cars lining up on the grid, very slowly making their way to the pit box. Just to the left hand side, of course, the royal box, which the winner will be going in at the end to receive his winner's trophy. And of course we will have the top 3 on the podium in the group for a interview after the end of the race. And we'll find a good view here, and we've got on board Vela Archie. We've got 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and we're off and away at the Monaco Grand Prix here at the No Assist Championship. It's a good start for Archie. He's got the up inside for M. Doran, and we've got a clean getaway by the looks of it. Behind it's a slow kick out there. One of the Ferraris struggling. Who's that? It's Speed Queen dropping down through the order, but it looks like we've got a yellow flag. Who it looks pretty clean so far as we go down through the grid. And yeah, it's a good getaway from White Fountain. The Renaults lead the field away.
Phil MCFC, he must have cut the corner at the beginning. He's been given a 5-second penalty for gaining a place by cutting a corner. So poor start for Phil MCFC. I noticed all drivers outside the top 10 are running long tonight. They are either on the medium or the hard tyres. So it's going to be fascinating to see what these red banded soft tyre guys can do. Can they pull away from these hard tyre guys to get in and come back out? It's going to be a real mix up shortly when they do have to do their pit stops. Can the soft running guys get these tyres lasted for a good period of time, or are they going to have to come in early? Ella Archie, proper putting the pressure on his teammate now, White Fountain. Can he make a dive? Oh, that was brave. White Fountain's having none of it, and White Fountain stays in the lead.
The Mercedes forcing their way past Sammy the Pitto into Charlie got past first into the Nouvelle chicane, then Scott forcing his way past down in the exit anti-Noakes, and the Mercedes up past Sam, who picked up wing damage. He's lost one of his front end plates there, so he's going to be struggling for downforce. He's now got CPI Alex all over the rear end of him, and yeah, in the first lap, unfortunately, we saw a little bit of an accordion down here into the Lowe's hairpin, and we saw a few guys running into the back of each other. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1 and Sector 3 at the moment, so yellow 1, we've got Beck, who's gone wide, so we've got in the early pit stops for Meg Luckby, Beck and Humberstone, so they've dropped down to the rear end of the field. We're on board here with with Scott, sorry, and Charlie just ahead of him, so the Mercedes 4th and 5th, they've moved up one position, of course, with Sam dropping down 2, for the Haas dropping down from 4th to 6th, but it's a great getaway from the Renaults, who lead away, of course, Archie. In fact, we'll go on board here with the second Renault as he follows his teammate, and Archie looking very racy indeed, and he's going to keep White Fountain company. Oh, clips the wall there at Saint-Devote, so that's not going to help your confidence, but racing up now through Beaurivage into Massenet. Oh, the time just scrubbing off space as you go through it now on the exit of Casino down towards Mirabeau. Get it slowed down nice, keep it nice and tight to the entry, now down to the Lowe's hairpin. Nicely done there for Archie. Of course, these guys running no assist have to be very, very careful on that throttle pedal. Now the exit Portier into the tunnel. The two Renaults flash past the screen as they come back out into the sunlight, bright sunlight there for White Fountain, who slows it down for the Nouvelle chicane. Both cars exiting fine. 2.2 seconds they lead already. The Renaults looking very strong this evening.
Yes, they are, and the first of the soft running guys, Sam, has come into pits, and he must have had an incident with the barriers, because he's also changed his front wing. So the first person I've seen, especially, to change their front wing tonight. Sam now down in 15th place, so all work to do. He's on the hard tyre, so he'll be looking to probably run to the end now for Sam.
White Fountain set the fastest lap of the race there, leading the way by 1.9 seconds, so he's dropped his teammate ever so slightly, possibly a slight mistake for Archie, who's now down to just under 2 seconds away, and in fact he's dropping back considerably. So we'll just quickly check in with Archie. Has he lost any front wing? No, doesn't look like he's got any damage, but he's now, oh, it looks like it might have been losing time clearing the Toro Rosso of Beck 9000 as Beck circulates at the moment at the rear end of the field, now lapped on lap 4. So Ella Archie's got a lot of catching up to do, because he obviously caught that Toro Rosso in the wrong position. It's cost him well over 2 seconds of race time, as he runs over the curbing very nicely there at the Nouvelle chicane. And we've got M. Doran now getting past Beck, and the two Mercedes will be coming up to him. Not far off, and behind we've got Speed Queen. She's keeping the rear end of the Toro Rosso very, very honest, as Adrilokdok there in 9th position has a multi-time champion all over the rear end of him, and as a rookie to the league and in his first race here, he's probably not going to be as afraid as several other drivers might be.
Yeah, I've been watching this battle. Speed Queen has been pretty much sat on the rear wing of that Toro Rosso for a good lap and a half now. She just cannot find a way past the Adrilokdok is making that car very wide. It's also very narrow, as we know, around this track, but he's defending really well at the minute. He's not buckling under any pressure that Speed Queen is showing so far. She's trying to do some faint dives and stuff, and he's not budging whatsoever. But this is also bringing MJ Coupe into the mix as well, so we have a nice little three-way battle at the minute for 9th place.
Boy, better know, getting past Charlie on that last lap there as Archie picks up a 3-second time penalty, so the first one to pick up a penalty at the front of the front runners. And the Mercedes still struggling to catch up to the Toro Rosso, who's under blue flags ahead, but they will be catching him in the next few corners, I'd imagine. But Scott getting past his Mercedes teammate. Was that a strategic call for the Mercedes boys, and will we look to see Charlie possibly be the first one to bail in? As there we go, Beck pulls to the side to let one of the Mercs through as Sam picks up a 3-second time penalty. These guys, they've got CPI Alex about 1.2 seconds behind. In fact, we'll just quickly check in with this battle down the rear end of the field. As you were saying, you've got Andrea Lockdock. He's still got Speed Queen for company in 10th position. And then behind you've got Nick L.J. Thompson in 12th. He had Phil quite close to him, but Phil just dropping back over that last corner, just possibly not getting the drive. In fact, or is Phil back in the session? I believe no, he might have left the session. He's here, ghosted there. So sorry about that. As yeah, so Nick up into 12th. He's got, if that's the case, a nice gap back to Sam. As looks like Speed Queen, she's the closest on board, on track, sorry, compared to anyone else. We've got a yellow in sector 3. Can't see anyone dropping down from the roof.
Drajo.
Oh, Drajo. He's down in 17th position. He's recently come in and made a pit stop, so it might be another one. As Speed Queen now, she's as close as she's ever been to the rear end of that Toro Rosso. Of course, there's just nowhere to overtake around here. You've only got that DRS straight down the main straight, but it doesn't really even give you anything. It's all about late braking down into this sort of, you can possibly, if you're lucky, make a move into Raskas or into Anthony Noakes, which you saw Scott do, as Scott's been the only one to really make some decent moves so far in the race. As we've got LR Archie, he is the first one to blink and come into the pits off the guys running in the top 5. So Archie's now dropped down to 12th position onto the hard tyres. So is this an attempt at possibly running to the end?
He, I don't know if you caught it, but he has also changed his front wing, so that is probably why he dropped down further than we anticipated. Front wing change for Archie on the hard tyres, so a bit of work for him to do now.
CPI Alex now caught right up to the rear end of Charlie. And let's see if has Charlie got any front wing damage that would mean that he's dropped back. Doesn't look like it. Yellow flag in sector 2 now. It's been cleared quickly. Of course, lapped cars might be causing these yellow flags now, but we've got Alex. He's keeping Charlie very honest indeed, and that might have been a strategic call, as with Charlie letting Scott by, because Scott is now starting to really pull away. And what have you caught on board, Sab?
Adrilock Doc has spun at the swimming pool chicane, and it's allowed Speed Queen to come through. So Speed Queen's pressure has finally mounted, and Adrilock Doc has buckled, and now he's coming into pits. I'm not sure if he's got front wing damage, but he's coming into pits. So tough there for him and his first session in this league, but he's coming in now. I'm not sure if he's having a front wing change. He's going straight back on to he's going on to the medium tyres, so yeah, tough one there, but that allows now Speed Queen, she's just about 4 seconds behind Scofield, gives her some breathing space now to try and catch up behind the Haas.
Yeah, very nicely done. And also that means one less person for Archie to overtake. We've got a yellow in sector 3 as Adrian Lockdock picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. The Toro Rossos, after starting well, unfortunately down in 16th and 18th now, and both a lap down. White Fountain's MJ Coupe picks up a 3-second time penalty as well, so most likely we'll be picking those up at the Novell chicane, just running slightly wide, as Alex is now into the pit lane, so he was catching up with Charlie. Is this an attempt at the undercut, and will it bring the Mercedes in next lap to try and cover off? As it's a slow stop there. Is that just a glitch for Alex, or is he stuck in the pit lane? No, it's a very slow stop there from Alex. We'll have to find out after the race what went on there, because he seemed to be in the pit stall for what felt like forever, unless there was a 5-second stop go possibly for him early in the race that we didn't manage to catch. But he's now out on the hard tyres, and that has meant that Archie has jumped Alex and Sam there. So Archie, he's kind of being a little bit fortuitous. He's getting these drivers that would be potentially quite tricky to get past, just having to essentially parting and letting the Renault back through.
Yes, most definitely. And we have an interesting battle at the front right now. M. Doran has now got company from Boy Bettinel. He's about 6/10 of a second behind the McLaren. He's trying to put some pressure on M. Doran. He's coming around now, surely around to the pit entry. Are any of them biting? M. Doran bites, so this unleashes Scott now. So will Scott be putting down the hammer and trying to build something up against the guys who've already pitted, as White Fountain as well as also pitted? So currently Scott is leading the race.
Yep, race leader into the pit lane. He's just coming out to the exit now. Just very easy, of course, to clip the inside wall on the right hand side, but out into fresh air there for White Fountain. So perfect release from the Renault team to get him back out with no traffic in front and no one else to hassle him behind. We've got Archie, he's catching up to the rear end of Nick L.J. Thompson. Archie, of course, 3 laps on the hards compared to Nick, who started on the mediums, and he's cutting right down to the Alfa Romeo as we get down towards Mirabeau now, into the Lowe's hairpin, and in fact he's going to go for the move. That would have been very brave, and in fact he gets caught up a little bit there, and Nick shutting the door, and he's not going to make it easy. And of course this is a track where you don't need to let people past it. You are racing them for position. There's no point arguing about whether people are on older tyres than you, because there's so many opportunities for drivers with safety cars, with virtual safety cars. As he tries to go to the move for a move down to back, it's almost flat out that corner there. So Archie desperate to try and get past Nick here, and you can see he's almost pushing that Alpha around the corner. He's going to try and make the move into Raskas. This will be another one. Archie still trying to get that move done, and it's all about patience here. And this is possibly the effect of youth. And Archie, of course, a young driver. It's all about being patient. Just pick your places. Don't force a move through, because Nick is an old and experienced driver. He's been doing this for a while. He'll know that he can keep Archie behind, and if Archie picks up wing damage trying to overtake him, that nullifies the fact that he is on fresher tyres compared to Nick. So Nick just playing the long game here.
Oh, most definitely. He cannot. Archie's trying to bully his way past here, and eventually he does get past Nick there. It looked at first a bit of desperation from Archie, and Nick wasn't going to allow him past, but somehow he got his elbows out, Archie, and he's got ahead of Nick, which is crucial, because Scott Boy better know, while we was discussing that, he's been in the pits. He's back out now in 8th place on the hard tyre, just behind Sam, about 1.4 seconds.
Charlie, he's going to get past Alex, who goes deep into the Novell chicane. Charlie hassling the Ferrari braking a little bit too late, as JJ unfortunately retires from the session down in 18th position. A miserable session tonight from JJ. As I said, very new, had a brand new wheel delivered to him, but wasn't quite up to didn't quite get the practice time that he was hoping for this evening. As Charlie now up into 9th position. We've got SJD pitting from the top 3 positions. He's coming now. He's going to come out right into just cuts off Charlie, who's going to have much more speed going up the hill and equally be on fresh tyres, and he's going to try and go to the inside, and they collide. And Charlie's around, and he's going to be right in the middle of the track. Luckily he goes there, and that's going to unsight the 2 Ferraris, and Charlie just trying to get the move done there up into Massenet. And it's not an overtaking position often, as we've got a VSC possibly for that spin for Charlie. So the field now of course we're dropped down to a much slower pace as the cars take stock on what has been a pretty explosive first 12 laps.
Yes, it's time for us to at least get a breath during this crazy first 12 laps. Charlie there, again, similar to Archie, but this time just showing a bit too much desperation. He'll have seen that Alfa Romeo come out in front of him and wanted to get past as soon as possible, and unfortunately he's paid the price, and it's not really, I don't think it has affected SJD. So he's come out in a good place, SJD. 8th place, he's not looking too bad. He's ahead of Alex at the minute, so he's sitting pretty there in the Alfa Romeo, as Nick is SJD's teammate is also pitted now. He's come in for a new set of hard tyres.
I'll tell you who's just benefited from that massively is Scopefielder, who made a pit stop under the VSC. He's come out in 6th position, right behind Scott. And in fact, it was just about that the reigning champion Boyband OSB was managed to get past the Haas, and we've seen Scott and Scope go at each other over the last season or so. And so they're no strangers on track. But yeah, Scope making use of the fact that he was able to pit under the VSC out in 6th position. So great little strategic call there from the Haas team. White Fountain back up into the lead of the race after the pit stops has negated everyone. He now leads by 10.8 seconds to M. Doran.
Yes, we had, for a brief moment, we had a battle for second place, but Archie's fell back, and Boy Better Know also not far behind Sam. So that VSC has done us well, because it's bunched the guys up a bit. As we've got Archie, has he had more from... Archie's retired, so I don't know if that's down to frustration or what, but he's had front wing damage and he's come in and retired. So yes, that's the last week's race winner. Is out of tonight's session. So yeah, tough race for Archie there.
Yeah, he picked up I believe a second, maybe even a third penalty just leading up to that retirement, and as you said, wing damage as well. I think he realised that he would drop well down the order, and unfortunately for Archie, he's decided that he's gonna have an early bath instead of trying to fight his way back through. So we'll be looking to come back stronger next week in France, and unfortunately that now means that we're down to 16 runners on track with the retirements of JJ and LR Archie. What that does mean is that's another opportunity for the podium for the guys behind, with the likes of one of the Renaults missing now. So we've got a nice little battle forming behind Sam. We've got Sam, Scott, Scope and SJD all down 3rd through 6th. So the battle for the podium, with just under half the race gone, as we see a couple of quick-fire penalties there for Nick and MJ Coupe, but the battle for the podium well and truly on.
It most certainly is, and I have to say, M. Doran, he's had a quiet race, so to speak, but he's doing really well. He's still sat there in second place, 12.7 seconds behind White Fountain. He just wants to now focus on his own race, try and secure that podium. He's having a good race so far, and you want to hope that, like Sam, Scott, Scopefield, SJD, will all have their own little battle for 3rd place, and he could be left alone to have a relatively quiet race to the finish line. But at the minute, M. Doran having a solid race in the McLaren.
Yep, great race so far for him. So hopefully he can get those mistakes that we've seen as Humberstone locking up, and Humberstone and Charlie going to go side by side now up through Beau Rivage. Who's going to come out on top? Charlie just about doing that, and we've seen him make some very brave moves here up through the hill, and some unfortunately haven't come off, but that one luckily for the Mercedes car does, and he's now right onto the gearbox of Meg Lugby, who's in 12th position. Charlie unfortunately having to fight through the field after coming in for another stop, but he's now got the Red Bull of Meg Lugby just ahead. Down into Portier now. Can he get a good run now into the tunnel? He is, and in fact he's going to already have a look into the inside of the Red Bull, and they're going to go side by side down towards the Nouvelle Chicane. Who's going to break latest? Meg Lugby does, but Charlie's going to try and take it around the... That's a brave move once again, and he gets the move done. Nicely done there for Charlie. Just the two going side by side for the Nouvelle Chicane, and Charlie 2 moves in about 6 corners.
I think he's going for overtake of the night by the looks of it, Charlie. He's pulling out some brave moves, and he's going to have to, really, if he wants to get back towards the front runners, as we've got a yellow flag. We briefly had a yellow flag in Sector 3. I don't know if it involved Humberstone and Meg. They're both now in the pits. But back towards the front, SJD and Scopefielder and Scott, they're all pushing Sam for this 3rd place. At the minute, neither of them have buckled, and it's a Sam train, so to speak, for 3rd place at the minute. Nobody really making mistakes, and nowhere really, as you said, nowhere really to overtake. So it's just a case of follow the leader at the moment.
Yep, we've seen guys struggling to get moves done, and Scott trying to think about something. Took a wide line there into Raskas, but Humberstone 5-second penalty. He retires. He crossed the pit lane exit, the white line, the pit lane exit. Very easy to do, of course, because it's a very tight line. So you've got a yellow flag in sector 1. There's going to be a Williams around here somewhere, and Scott all over the gearboxes. Sam now really hassling that Haas F1 car as we go up through Casino Square, down towards Mirabeau at turn 5, as Humberstone unfortunately leaving us for this evening. So that's now down to 15 runners, and you can see this 4-car battle, and we saw a fantastic battle for the podium last week in Austria, and if you haven't watched it, I suggest you go back and catch it on YouTube, because it was an absolutely magnificent fight, a 5-car battle over the podium then. And it looks like we've got round 2 is given this exact same, because we've got Scott all over the rear end of this Haas, and you'd probably say that if Scott could get past Sam, he'd probably streak off into the distance, but Sam holding up the cars behind, and it's just frustration when you're sitting behind a car when you know you can go quicker, but unfortunately for Scott, he's just going to have to sit there and wait for Sam to make that mistake.
Oh, most definitely, and this is very reminiscent, isn't it, of Daniel Ricciardo a few years back with Sebastian Vettel behind him, and Ricciardo having those car issues, but he still managed to keep the flying Seb behind him throughout the whole of that race. And it's, like you say, just pure frustration. You know you're faster, but there's just nowhere to get the move done. You want to try and harry and upset that car as he just tags the back of Sam. So I don't know if that was front wing damage for Scott there, but a little like a love tap on the back of Sam there, just to probably let him know he's still there, even though Sam probably can have a wing mirrors full of that Mercedes. But yeah, he wants to try and get Sam out of that rhythm and try and force him into a mistake. But at the minute, Sam's not buckling, even though Scott is now trying down the inside. But as they touch, they have touched, and Scott surely has front wing damage. After that, and Scopefielder now passes Scott. But yes, I was talking about Scott's possibly making Sam make a mistake, but it's turned out that Scott has made a mistake, and if he has front wing damage, that is going to really hamper his race.
It might possibly have. It's a front right end plate loss there for Scott, and he's going to have to come in and stop, and it's a quick stop with a nose change there for the Mercedes team. But we're still sticking on board. In fact, we've got a nice little battle between the Ferraris at the moment. Speed Queen, she's sitting behind CPI Alex in 6th and 7th position at the moment, as Scott's coming out now towards the rear end of this field. And yes, Scott getting a really good run out of the tunnel down towards the Nouvelle Chicane. Went to the outside line as Charlie does a second fastest lap in 2 laps. So Charlie on a flyer at the moment in a 10th position. He's just come in front of his teammate. So Mercedes, after running very well, 10th and 11th, so it's falling apart somewhat. But yeah, Scott just squeezed up against the wall there by Sam on the entry to the Nouvelle Chicane, and those two coming into contact, and that allowed Scopefielder up into 4th position. So now we've got the Haas cars in 3rd and 4th position. Do they play the team game, or with Sam possibly now holding up Scope, does Sam let him past?
That is the question. You've took the words out of my mouth there. Surely, if Scopefielder is getting held up by Sam, surely the team game has to be played here, and Sam allows Scopefielder to get through, because this is only going to allow SJD, who's running really well and really nice at the minute on those medium tyres, in 5th place. He's going to start catching up with Scopefielder and put the pressure on. So for me, I would, if there is any decent place to allow an overtake to be done, but team game wise, I would get it done very quickly. Otherwise, SJD is going to soon be all over the gearbox of Scopefielder.
Yeah, as you say, this is where the Haas team have to make a decision. Does Sam pull aside and let Scope through? And in fact, there you go, it happens at the entrance to the tunnel, and it's done with absolute precision as not to lose any time on the exit of Portier. Scopefielder released up into 3rd position, and Sam, on course of the harder tyres compared to Scope, is now down into 4th, and he's going to be the backstop and hold off SJD, because of course SJD, as you were saying, doing very well this evening. As a scope clipping the wall there. Is that front end plate damage for the Haas? It is, and he's hit the wall again. So it's going to be a pit stop for the Sweden just as they swap positions. Scope just hits the wall in the exit of the swimming pool section, hits the wall again at Raskas, and disaster for the Haas, because it looked like they'd made the absolute perfect decision there. And now you've got SJD, who's now right on the rear end of Sam. Sam, of course, 18 laps on those hard tyres. SJD's only done 9 laps on the medium, so he's going to have much fresher tyres. And SJD well in with a chance of a podium now.
Yes, he's going to smell a chance of stealing a podium here. He's ran a good race. He's took advantage of the guys ahead of him making mistakes, and now there's a real good opportunity, like we saw in yesterday's crazy German Grand Prix. There's a real good opportunity now for some of the guys who may not be likely to get a podium to get a podium. Sam, under increasing pressure now from the Alfa Romeo, it's looking good for SJ at the minute. White Fountain, just looking at him at the front, he's still running really nicely, 21 seconds ahead of Endurant in second place. So yeah, as long as he keeps it off the wall, I would say right now White Fountain is pretty much got this race in his hands.
Oh yeah, as Charlie picks up a 3-second time penalty there, just cut the corner ever so slightly. But we've got a nice little 4-car battle here between Nick L.J. Thompson all the way down to Boy Better Know, and Scopefielder, I imagine, will join this party as Charlie cuts the corner once again. So having to watch out now, because he's going to be holding up his teammate, because Charlie, he's it's the Toro Rosso of Adrialocto again, all out of shape there on the exit of Raskas, and he's going to have the 2 Mercedes swarming over the rear end of him now, going towards Saint-Devot for the 22nd of 39 laps. Sorry. As Charlie kicks the rear end out, that means that the 2 Mercedes are going to go side by side up the hill. What's going to happen here? Scott having to pull out of the throttle. Charlie really putting the hammer down on the throttle pedal just too early, and we've got a yellow flag in sector 3. It's Beck 9000, unfortunately retiring from his first race here, and the Toro Rosso, Scott trying to get past Adrialocto, doesn't quite get the move done, and it was both Mercedes trying to get past down into Mirabeau. Unfortunately, 3 into 1 certainly doesn't go. You can barely get 2 into 1 down into Mirabeau. And Scott squeezed up against the wall, and it is that front wing damage once again for the reigning champion. He's now got Scopefielder all over the rear end of him. So out of the frying pan into the fire for Scott, as he just about managed to survive without wing damage, but he's now got Scopefielder on much better tyres all over the rear end of the Mercedes. Yes,
and further afield, SJD is still behind Sam. He's just dropped off slightly at around 7/10 now, but he's still not managed to make an impression on Sam. Sam doing nicely now. He's 20 laps on those hard tyres. He's doing what he needs to do, and just keep that Alfa Romeo behind him. But currently SJD now just trying anything he can to force a mistake out of Sam to allow him through.
Yeah, we've seen it in the past, not only on the game but in real life, as Scott's going to try and go down the inside into Mirabeau on the inside of Adrialocto. There's contact between the two. The Toro Rosso is still there, but Scott gets the move done. In fact, bounces up into the air, all 4 wheels off the ground as he comes into contact with Nick L.J. Thompson behind. That was, I'm sure, terrifying for the Mercedes driver. He'll get a nice shock up the rear end with the amount of contact there, but he's now back up into 9th position, and it's really here. It's that frustration of having to stick behind drivers and not make that move, because as we've said before, we've had Daniel Ricciardo keeping Sebastian Vettel behind. We've had Jarno Trulli and Jenson Button, of course, in, I believe it was 2004. Plenty of drivers that we've seen sticking with each other, and Scott now all over the rear end of Nick, and he's going to just essentially, as we saw earlier in the race, push that Alfa along the track, and he's going to go to the inside now, down towards Saint-Devot. He's alongside. It looks like he's going to get the move done. Nick, unfortunately, has to yield, and he lets the Mercedes through, and finally Scott up into 8th position, but he's lost a whole bundle of time caught in this battle.
Yeah, and like you say, you've got to try and keep your temper and keep your mind in check around here, because if you're getting stuck behind a certain car and you're stuck behind it for 10, 12 laps, it's very easy to get frustrated and try something that you wouldn't normally try, and then suddenly you've lost the front wing, or you're even worse, you're out of the race. So yes, it's very tough for the guys out there. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. I can't see who that's for, but it's quickly gone. I don't know if that might have been a back marker, but at the minute SJD is currently going through that. He's still stuck behind Sam. Adrian picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, with Nick very close behind him.
We're now around 2/3 of the way through this race. Only 14 laps left to go. 25 of the 39 are down. White Fountain is your leader by 25 seconds. He's absolutely destroyed this race tonight as Nick pulls into the pit lane there. You've got M. Doran up in second position. He's got Sammy the Pitto 3.3 seconds behind, so M. Doran with nice cushion. Sam keeping SJD behind him as hard as he can. He's trying to keep that Alpha behind. Speed Queen, she's 8 seconds behind. She got past teammate Alex. So the two Ferraris in 5th and 6th. Then you've got the Mercedes in 7th and 8th. Then you've got this battle with Adrian Lockdock there letting Scopefielder pass. So Adrian Lockdock deciding not to fight with Scopefielder and letting the Swede through. So Scopefielder back up into 9th position and on much fresher and softer tyres. He's going to look to catch up to Scott once again. We've only lost 4 drivers out of the 18 so far. The 18 started the race. Unfortunately, we've lost Dragio, LR Archie, Humbo Stone and Beck 9000. I believe we may have lost Phil MCFC as well. But yeah, so still quite a few runners left in the race. And as Alex and Speed Queen swap over, as Speed Queen makes a second stop for a new nose, so it's a new front wing there for Speed Queen. That's going to drop her down and promote up the 2 Mercedes, and there you go. So Speed Queen dropping down, and she's going to come out just in front of Scopefielder by the looks of it.
Yeah, I was just thinking Speed Queen is having a nice race. She's going well, and fortunately she must have had contact somewhere on the circuit. She comes out in 10th place ahead of MJ Coupe, so yeah, that's unfortunate for her, because both the Ferraris were sitting nicely up there in 5th and 6th, going to pick up some good constructors points, but now she's got a lot of work to do to pick up some more points now and catch up with the guys ahead.
It's SJD here in 4th position, still sitting behind Sam. Sam 23 laps on the hard tyres. Surely he's not going to go to the end of them. They'll be probably worn down to the carcass by the end of this race. If that's the case, he's very slow into Rascas there, and SJD having to get off of the throttle to not collect the rear end of the Haas. But once again, even with DRS, he just catches up to the rear end of the American manufacturer ahead, but can't quite make a move into Saint-Devote. Up the hill, charging up through Beau Rivage here on the right hand side. Massenade into turn 3 around Casino Square, swap it right into a hard right down through the hill, missed that kink on the right hand side. White Fountain 3-second time penalty for the leader. Unfortunately, that's not going to hamper him too much with the gap that he's got, but SJD now through the Lowe's hairpin, still on the rear end, and a hair's breadth away from the hair's width away, I should say, away from the Haas ahead. But he's coming down to the Novell chicane, and is he going to have a look? He has a look, trying to make Sam or force Sam into a mistake, and it's just SJG's just having to sit here and, just like we saw earlier with Sam, just having to hope that the Spaniard makes a mistake.
Yeah, and surely, like you say, 24 lap old tyres, surely he's going to have to come in before the end of the race, because those tyres are going to be absolutely screaming at him right now. SJD just has to remain patient. Let's hope he can find a way through, or another case Sam does have to pit. But at the minute, because these two are squabbling over 3rd place, this is allowing Enduran to sit quite comfortably in 2nd place, nobody putting pressure on him. So at the minute, this little battle is doing Enduran the world of good.
Yep, you've got the top 5. They've only made 1 stop, so they're the ones that have managed to keep it relatively clean so far this race. 2 stops for everyone, from 6th down to Megluppy, who's made 3 down in 14th position. So it's been a good race up the front for these top 5 drivers, as SJD nicely there through Portier, feathering that throttle as we enter the tunnel now. He's dropped back a little bit from Sam, possibly just conserving a little bit of battery, conserving a little bit of fuel here and pushing later in the race, but they're now coming up to the lapped cars of Phil MCFC ahead, so SJD just looking after those tyres somewhat, and I'm sure he's done, we'll just double check how long he's done, 16 laps on those mediums, so they will be starting to lose that edge, won't they?
Yeah, he's, like you say, he's probably just dropping back to get some battery, maybe even to give those tyres a bit of breathing space, so to speak, and allow him just to catch the breath and let him go again. Sam got the Williams, the ghosted Williams, in front of him at the minute, so he should make light work of that at the minute. But Sam now on 26 lap old hards. If he can take this to the end, then big round of applause to him, because so far he's defended superbly well for third place. He's had pressure from Scopefield there. Well, not so much Scopefield. He let his teammate pass, but he's had pressure from Scott as well and others, and he's managed to hold third place firmly. So he's having a good race. He's working hard and maintaining those tyres. It's lap 30 now. Can he keep going much longer? Surely not.
Where have we seen this before? We've got Ferrari in a battle with Mercedes, and it's CPI, Alex, FPL Charlie, and all very, very shortly, Boybed and OSB, Scott in 7th position, battling, although we're not quite in the positions we're used to seeing in battle, but down in 5th, 6th and 7th. Charlie all over the rear end of Alex, and Charlie, of course, up 2 positions. The two Mercedes have dropped 1 after both having to change their front wings in the race. And Charlie now, he's going to have to start looking behind him as well, because although his teammate is not going to make any rash moves on him, I'm sure that Scott's going to want to elevate his position. We know that a reigning champion dropped points last week when he thought he could have done a little bit better, and he wasn't quite as happy, but he's going to want to beat his teammate. But of course Charlie wasn't able to pick up any points last week, but he is in a position to pick some decent ones up this evening, so equally I'm sure he's not going to be too happy letting his champion teammate pass. So I'm sure the Mercedes team will have a little bit of possible little conversation, as Scott almost running into the back end of Charlie there, so getting very close here at the Brackley team.
Oh, most definitely. Charlie also pretty much rear-ended that Ferrari as well, so they really are pushing this Ferrari now, and Scott really pushing his teammate. Can they get any moves done? No, it's just Alex locks up slightly, but manages to keep those buzzing Mercedes behind him, and hopefully for his sake frustrate them into a mistake and give him some breathing space. But the minute that Ferrari is being proper hounded here by both Mercedes.
Yes, Alex putting his car in all the right places, blocking off any moves that Charlie wants to make, especially into the likes of Raskas. Doesn't open the door and let the Mercedes take the inside line, and it's a brave move to see it. But we've seen Charlie as he goes down the inside there into Sander Vaught. Very brave move. And now Scott and Alex go side by side up the hill. Scott up into 6th position. Alex losing 2 positions in less than 2 corners. Both Mercedes clearing that Ferrari. And that's a brave. Charlie has been on an absolute mission with brave moves tonight. So hats off to the rookie driver. He's been absolutely fantastic to watch.
Oh, most definitely. He's definitely the one to watch tonight with overtakes. He got the move done good there. Alex probably just a little shocked by it, and the shock kind of allowed Scott to see a door opening, and Scott, he doesn't have to say no twice to an open door, and he soon found his way through there now, and he's following closely Charlie in 5th place. Charlie 12.7 seconds behind SJD, who's still stuck behind Sam on nearly 30 lap old hard tyres. So incredible job there from Sam, but SJD must now be starting to get extremely frustrated. His team probably telling him that Sam should be coming in the pits, but at the minute he doesn't even look like he's gonna.
Yep. It's a frustrating afternoon for SJD, who's having to sit behind Sam, of course, 7/10 of a second between them as Speed Queen jumps Scopefielder now. So Speed Queen, she's managed to get past Scope, who's possibly going to start to be struggling on those soft tyres that have done 11 laps. We've still got these Mercedes battling over 5th and 6th positions at the moment as well, and it's Scott who's sitting behind teammate Charlie, and I'm sure they would have been told that they can race each other as long as it's fair and clean, and not to come into contact for any silly positions. Of course, it's all about when you're sitting in 5th and 6th and you're not really going to get the podium. It's all about picking up those points for the Constructors' Championship, so don't make any rash or silly decisions that might cost you any unnecessary points, as those they've dropped Alex. Unfortunately, Alex on 23-lap-old hard tyres, so he's dropped a whole bundle of time behind these lots. So that's on 23 laps of hard tyres. That's really showing how impressive Sam is on 30 laps, holding SJD behind him.
Yeah, it is incredible, really. I did not expect to see this tonight. He must be on the literal edge of keeping that car on the straight. As Charlie picks up a 3-second time penalty. I'm not sure, I don't know if you're aware if Scott has got any time penalties, but that could help his teammates later on at the end of the race. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. That's quickly cleared. As Schofielder, his soft tyres have given up. He's changing his front wing yet again. It's been a bit of a disaster day for Schofielder. He should come back out ahead of MJ Cooper, or around MJ Cooper. He's coming back out on another set of soft tyres.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a bit of a battle of attrition tonight with these guys that could keep it out of the wall and keep it clean, and unfortunately Schofielder, he's been one of those drivers that suffered with a couple of incidents, and unfortunately he now drops to 10th position, so he will be picking up championship points, but not as many, especially as his teammate with Sam currently in 3rd position, although I believe Sam is sitting on a penalty or 2, so that might aid SJD. We'll have to double check at the end of the session as Meg Lugby gets out the gets out the way. He was coming out the pit lane there, right into the middle of this battle, so SJD, he's really caught the Red Bull in the wrong position, and Meg Lugby trying to get out the way at the exit, the entry there to Vassenet, and it's just cost SJD a little bit of time, but that might help him. But with 5 laps left to go, this is, you just once again cool those tyres down, get a little bit of a breather, and then go once again, push for those last 3 laps. But we've got 5 laps left in the race. White Fountain absolutely dominating this one. This is 2 races in succession. We've seen the Renault cars really stretching a lead out. We've got Ella Archie, which of course retiring from this race, but took a dominant win last week in Austria. And this week got White Fountain, his Belgian teammate. Really impressive evening for him around the streets of Monte Carlo.
Most definitely, and I was just having a quick look. Both Sam and SJB have both got 3-second time penalties, so at the minute this is a definite race for 3rd place at the minute. Neither of them have got any more penalties, so as it stands, Sam would hold 3rd place, so all still to play for. Can he keep those hard tyres somehow alive for a few more laps and keep hold of that 3rd place?
4 laps left to go in this one, the 2nd round of the No Assist Championship, and it's been a night where we've seen guys make possibly a little bit brash moves. Of course, it's their first time back here in Monaco for a long time. Drivers not used to racing around the streets of the Principality, so it's all about finding those positions to overtake, and equally you've got to have a competitor and a rival that will be courteous enough to give you space if you do decide to stick your nose down into a corner. But of course around here there's so many limited places to do it that you've really got to be confident with that overtake, and we've seen plenty of cars clumsily banging wheels and hitting walls tonight, and possibly a little bit of a learning curve for the guys that will be running in the Performance League and the Equal Performance Leagues on Tuesday and Wednesday, Sab.
Yeah, most definitely. I for one am definitely not looking forward to this tomorrow. It shows that these guys, probably some of the best guys in our leagues, and even they found it tough around here. So yeah, it could be a case of learn tonight and prepare for tomorrow. But it's been a fantastic race to watch so far. I just watching SJD. I reckon his medium tyres have properly got off now. He's 24-lap-old medium tyres. He's dropped down to 2.4 seconds behind Sam. Sam now got some breathing space, which you'll be thankful for. But I think SJT's tyres, he's either struggling with his tyres or he's just making sure he doesn't collect any barriers or pick any more penalties. But at the minute, SJD just dropping back slightly.
Yep, it's Possibly just deciding that the battle is pretty much worn him out here, and he's going to just take a little bit of a breather. Of course, we've only got 3 laps left to go. White Fountain now a 35-second lead. We've still got this intense battle going on for 5th and 6th position between the 2 Mercedes cars at the moment, and Scott still unable to find a way past Charlie. Charlie not willing to let his teammate through. So reigning champion Scott in 6th position, and dropping points. So I'm sure he'll think to his rivals with the likes of White Fountain and Sam ahead of him. But yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Around here, if you get caught behind someone, it's you just have to essentially put up with it.
Yeah, definitely. And we've also got a battle once again between the 2 Ferraris. CPI Alex is on the very old hard tyres, with Speed Queen on much younger medium tyres, but she cannot get past her teammate either. So the minute both Mercedes and Ferrari are battling each other on the track, but neither can make an impact on each other.
SJD now back up to 1.4 seconds behind Sam, so possibly just took a lap or 2 off, just recharged the battery ever so slightly. Now he's going to push once again for the last 2 laps as White Fountain crosses the line to start his penultimate lap of the race, and he's absolutely blown the competition away tonight, and hopefully not to curse him with 2 laps left to go. It's been a fantastic session this evening. Really impressive qualifying lap, and then just streaked away, maintained the lead in the early stages, and has been able just to drive away from the rest of the field as Scott picks up a 3-second time penalty there. So that's possibly going to hold him in 6th position, because I believe Charlie has a few as well. So that might mean that Scott stays in 6th position as Meg picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. And with a lap and a half left to go, we've got Alex and Speed Queen split by 0.4 of a second. You've got Charlie and Scott split by 0.2 of a second. So it's all close between teammates on track for 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th. And Nick LJ Thompson, he'll be picking up points once again in 9th position at the moment. Scopefielder, he's catching up to the Alfa Romeo quickly. He's only 1.4 seconds behind now. And we've got SJD 1.1 behind Sam, so he's got 1 lap left to go as White Fountain has crossed the line. He started his last lap of the race. And can you see any more overtakes on track happening, Sam? Or do you think this might be going down to any time penalties?
Yeah, I think it's the latter, to be honest. Unless there's a mistake out there from anybody, I think they're just going to probably follow each other around now for the last time. SJD has caught right back up to the back of Sam once again, but unfortunately for him, unless Sam picks up a penalty, I cannot see a way past for him. Sam on 36 lap old hard tyres, absolutely incredible stuff from him. He's done superbly to keep those tyres even still on the rim of that car, never mind running around the track. He's absolutely done the perfect strategy tonight in the Haas car, and so far for him he should be picking up a podium place.
Yep, as White Fountain comes around Anthony Nogues out of the final corner in absolute jubilation. Congratulations to the Renault driver. He crosses the line and takes the race victory tonight. A fantastic result there from the Renault driver, and he really deserved that one. M. Doran is slightly down the field. He's way off, 39 seconds at the moment. We've still got this battle going on between 3rd and 4th, but it looks like Sam is going to hold on to it as M. Doran coming around the swimming pool section now into the Raskas corner down at turn 17, now up into Anthony Nogues at turn 18, turn 19. He's going to open the DRS, or not to open the DRS, open up the accelerator for the last time. Comes across the line, great podium for M. Doran. Sammy the Pitto in 3rd position. He holds off SJD after 37 laps on the tyres. Fantastic result there from Sam. Boy Better Know does jump up past Charlie, and now we've got that battle between the Ferraris. Is Speed Queen to look to the inside? She doesn't. She thought about it for a second. Alex and Speed Queen are going to come across the line. They're the last ones on the lead lap, and they come across the line astern, and Alex in 7th and Speed Queen in 8th. What a race, Sam.
Yeah, unbelievable. Once again as well, we've had two races completely dominated by a Renault driver. Tonight, it's Archie's teammate White Fountain. He did not put a foot wrong tonight. You have to take your hat off to him. He was absolutely superb tonight. He has to be my driver of the day. He got the pole position, and he just didn't look back, did he? He ran off into the lead and let everybody else just have their own issues, and thoroughly deserves spraying the champagne there on the podium. Doran as well, I'd have to also say, superb drive from him. He kept himself out of trouble. He allowed the others behind him to squabble for third place, and he looked after second place very well. So he also had a good race. But Sam, on those old tyres, wow, yeah, very, very, very impressive. But yeah, overall, fantastic race. It had many, many incidents which we probably have to look back and watch again.
Yeah. Make sure you check this one out again, because that was a fascinating race from start to finish. And White Fountain, he goes flag to flag, pole to the victory in the Renault. He does it in 49 minutes and 5 seconds. Ahead of Doran, Sam in third, SJD in fourth, Boy Better Known, Charlie in fifth and sixth, CPI Alex in seventh and eighth, Scopefielder in ninth, Nick in 10th, Adra Lockdock, MJ Coop, Phil and Meg Lugpy were your last runners, and unfortunately we lost Beck, Humbo Stone, Phil, and LR Archie and Dragio. So we lost them from the race. So 5 non-finishers this evening, but that is a testament to the guys that, although 14 managed to finish the race, which is a real credit to those guys, because of course running no assists around here is no easy feat at all. So credit goes to everyone that was involved in the race tonight for making it what it was. It was a real fun one to watch and to commentate on, and yeah, it was one of those races, Sab, where you couldn't keep your eyes off it. There was always something happening.
Oh, most definitely, and there was a lot of inter-team battles out there, and they couldn't eventually get around. So the only way was to really win via penalties. So yeah, superb battles all the way through. You expect some frustrations from some people, especially the front running guys who expect to be fighting for the championship. But once again, it's showing that the Renault guys are the ones to beat tonight. Archie didn't have a good race, but his teammates surely did, and thoroughly deserves the win tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. A fantastic result, flag to flag for White Fountain, and we will be inviting the guys in, hopefully, if they are able to join us this evening, just to find out how they thought their race went. And it's been one of those races where you really have to applaud these guys, as I said before, for really, like what we saw from White Fountain, just driving away, real precision driving, and equally, congratulations to Doran. We've said that he's been very strong in qualifying over the last, especially through pre-season and the first race of this season. He's been incredibly strong. Couldn't quite translate that over to race pace, and I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted with a podium tonight. And equally, Sam, who did a magnificent job holding off SJD on those tyres. 34 laps on the hard tyres for him. So yeah, real credit to everyone that stood on the podium this evening, as the guys are slowly joining us, and we will just we'll find out how they found their race. And just whilst we wait for Doran, Sab, it was there any particular flashpoints of the race you thought were critical? Anything that you thought that's where the race was sewn up possibly for White Fountain, or was it the likes of Archie retiring that took the pressure off White Fountain that might have helped?
It could have done, but I don't think we've seen a lot of people further down the field who just couldn't get past anybody, could they really? So I think if there had been any pressure at the front, he might have held off well, like the others behind. It was one of those races that didn't bring us many overtakes. There were some fantastic overtakes from Charlie, some brave overtakes, but I think because of the nature of this track, if you can defend well and keep it out of the barriers, you're gonna 9 times out of 10 keep the car behind you. So yeah, I think It'd be very frustrating for for Archie. Sorry, he wouldn't have wanted to end his race like that, especially after winning last week. But his teammate was absolutely superb tonight.
Yeah, talking about that, welcome to White Fountain. Congratulations for that race victory. That must feel good.
Thank you, yes. It was a really good race. I don't know what else to say. It was just, yeah, everything fell in the right spot, and yeah, don't
So,
know what to say.
well, obviously you had a fantastic last lap in qualifying. Really, really took our breath away with that 4 tenths faster than anyone else. And were you happy with your pace from qualifying, or because obviously the first few laps it looked like you hadn't quite locked it in, but then that last one was really a precursor for what we saw in the race. You just drove away from everyone.
Yeah, my first hot lap, I damaged my front wing, so that was gone, and my second run wasn't smooth either. And my third one wasn't perfect, but it was really good. And I knew it was going to be close for pole, but I didn't know I was going to be 3-4 tenths up. And the race in the beginning, it was quite tough because Archie was really right behind me. He was trying to make a move on lap two, and he pitted, and I don't know if he had any front wing damage. So I didn't know was he going to go for the undercut. So, and it was really tricky with my strategy. Was I going to pit? Was I going to be stuck behind someone, and Doran could have had a shot of overtaking me? So it was a really nervous moment. But after the pit stops were done, it was just controlling everything and driving until the end of lap 39.
Yeah, yeah, and it was a fantastic race. You came out of your pit stop right into clean air. It seemed to fall perfectly into place for you. And did you find early in the race that did you feel like you had the pace on everyone, or was it just a case of just keeping out of the barriers and keeping it consistent?
In the beginning, I felt like Archie had the upper hand from the both of us, but when I knew he pitted and I came in front of him out of the pit lane, I just knew people were going to make mistakes, and I had to be clean like Vettel did in Germany past weekend. Just keep it together, and well, the result will come from itself.
Well, congratulations, and stick around 2 minutes. We'll just ask you one more question, but just to say congratulations to our third place guy, Sam, and another podium for you. And this one, you really had to work for that one, didn't you?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it was a tough race. I was defending since lap, I don't know, 10. Yeah, really hard. I had like an incident on lap 1, which cost me a lot of positions and time, and I had to pit really early and to fit the hard tires, and then I had to drive with them the whole race, and it was horrible. I mean, thank God Monaco is done, and let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, as you say, an early mistake. You came in, made that pit stop, 35 laps on the hard tyres. How were they feeling at the end? Because you were doing well to hold SJD back.
Yeah, I mean, horrible. I mean, the car wasn't turning, I was sliding. I mean, I just was concentrated. Please bring the car home. And then I had an incident with Scott. I think he was trying to go around the outside, and there was no space, in my opinion. I mean, I had the inside, and I really don't know what happened. But yeah, I mean, horrible race. I really suffered. I'm not really. I'm sweating. I need a cold shower, and because I'm I'm done.
Well, congratulations! There's another podium. Another great result for you and the Haas team. And just going back to White Fountain for a final question, it's Le Castellet at France, the French Grand Prix next week. Is it a track that you enjoy racing around, or is it one that you have to practice over the week?
No, I like the track layout, but on the 2018 game, I wasn't fast at it at all. So let's see how 19 is going to be. And I've found a funny story actually. Like 1.5 hours before the race, I went to the gym and I went through my back, and I didn't know if I was gonna be able to make the race. And the last 10 laps, my back was hurting so much, I didn't know if I was gonna make the end. So lucky my my back is still holding on a little bit.
Well, if that's
So
a
let's see how
a
next week
reason
is
not to
going
go
to
to
be.
the gym, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, congratulations to you guys. It was a fantastic race to watch. So I suggest you watch it back on YouTube and later this evening. A really fun one. Congratulations to White Fountain for the victory and to Sam once again standing on the podium. You're welcome to leave if you'd like to leave. If not, we'll be finishing up the stream just in a moment's time. But Sab, just finishing up on that one. It was a great race, another great race to start the season.
Oh, most definitely. We've had 2 races now where the front runner has absolutely run away with it, and we've not really seen much of them on the stream. We've had some superb battles for the podium once again. I cannot wait for next week to see what these guys bring. But Monaco, it didn't disappoint, did it? It brought many incidences, many clips with the wall, and superb close racing. Like I said earlier, wasn't always going to bring many overtakes, but it gave us good close racing, some hard racing, and that's what we love. And this league, once again, hasn't disappointed for me. It was absolutely superb tonight.
Yep, yeah, as you say, superb. We saw plenty of elbows out for several drivers not wanting to let others pass, and equally we saw some fantastic moves, especially from the likes of FPL Charlie, who really threw that car around the track with purpose tonight. So the 2 Mercedes finishing off in just off of the podium in 5th and 6th, but I'm sure they'll be glad with the points for the Constructors' Championship and equally for the drivers in this early stages of the championship. But with the first day down, we've got 2 more. We've got 4 more races. So I can't even count. As we've got the Performance League tomorrow night on Tuesday 8 p.m. here on Twitch.tv with Malk and Tim in the commentary box, and then on Wednesday night you've got F1, F2, and F3 equal performance racing around the Principality of Monte Carlo once again. So that will finish off round 2 of our championship before we head to France for round 3 next week. So if you, as I said, if you want to check us out before, go to the socials at Invictus RL on Twitter and Instagram, Invictus Racing League on Facebook, or go to the website invictusracingleague.com where you can find the league tables that will be updated for the race results very shortly after the end of this one. And equally, if you'd like to donate to the league or find out anything else, go to the Invictus section on the website where you can find out more. Equally, follow and subscribe to the streams. If you'd like to find Sab and I on Twitter, you can go to @AlanSabatino for Sab and @GT2_driving for myself. And Sab, heading to France next week. Good track?
Yes, it's a good track to race on the game. Watching it, as we seen earlier on in F1, is pretty boring. But these guys usually bring out good racing. You should be many more overtakes than what we've got tonight, and good fast-flowing track. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how we get on. Hopefully, a bit more of a battle for first place and not one person running away with it. But if they do manage to do that, then fair play to them. But yeah, France should be a good one.
Yep, Renaults have started the season strong. Can they carry it on next week at Le Castellet for the Paul Ricard circuit in France? So make sure you join us here Monday night, 8 p.m. next week for that. And for this evening, thank you very much for joining us. It was always good to see you watching the stream, and let us know where you're watching, how you're watching, and what you enjoyed about it. And equally, if you'd like to see more, also drop into the comments, let us know. Equally, if you want to listen to more of Sab and I, you can catch us on Thursday night from 8 p.m. on this channel, the No Assist channel, for the Invictus podcast. It will be uploaded afterwards if you don't listen live on Twitch to Podbean, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube equally. So yeah, plenty of places to listen to the Invictus Racing League podcast where you can equally subscribe. And but thanks very much for joining us tonight. Had an absolute blast bringing that one to you. And we will see you next week. Good night.